Amaravati is the people's capital, a beautiful, green, sustainable, smart city that embodies the democratic values of India. Drawing on the surrounding landscape, it is a celebration of the local culture and heritage of Andhra Pradesh. On the banks of the River Krishna, the governmental quarter is at the heart of the city, designed in cognizance with Vastu principles. Arranged along a 4-kilometre-long ceremonial axis, the master plan is divided into a series of 9 square grids. The State Assembly holds pride of place at the head of the ceremonial axis, with the Secretariat to the southwest, head of department offices to the southeast, and the ministers' residences to the north. The Justice City is located south of the governmental quarter, incorporating the legal mechanisms of the city. It pays tribute to Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, who was the father of the Indian Constitution. Further north, a 24-hour city creates a vibrant urban environment for the citizens of Amaravati, with a mix of different uses, from retail and offices to housing and sport facilities. There are 4 city-level squares and 9 smaller neighbourhood squares, each one celebrating Andhra Pradesh's 13 districts. There are also a series of small-scale courtyards within each residential and commercial block that form gathering spaces, inspired by village squares. 50% of the land will be parks and open spaces, and 10% will be covered by water, with a range of gardens and canals throughout the city for people to enjoy. The banks of the River Krishna will have a series of shaded ghats that will be the focus of the Krishna Pushkaram, the holy event that takes place every 12 years. The river and other waterways create a network for water taxis to serve the city. These water taxis offer scenic cruises through the city, as well as providing a transport option. The existing irrigation canals will be upgraded and extended to provide places to relax. The layout of the streets allows the wind to flow through the city, with the design of the building blocks also shaped to maximise the wind's cooling potential. The design aims to create a walkable urban realm that suits the local climate of Amaravati. Motorised vehicles will be restricted in the core areas, replaced by an integrated clean energy transport system of electric buses, water taxis, underground metros, cars and rentable bikes. This sustainable transport system will result in a 40% reduction of carbon emissions. The design of the buildings will also minimise energy usage with the photovoltaic roofs. The renewable energy derived from the rooftop PV systems is equivalent to the energy demand of all residential buildings. The State Assembly sits at the head of the ceremonial axis and will be a landmark building for Amaravati. We have designed 2 options for the State Assembly building. The first is based on the idea of an ancient stupa that gently rises from the ground. Surrounded by a large pool of water, the stupa forms an enclosure for a great public gathering. Lit by a large oculus, much like the roof of the Pantheon, a ramp spiralling throughout the building's interior contains a museum display on the culture and heritage of Andhra Pradesh. This ramp leads up to an observation deck, which has fantastic views of the surrounding landscape. A winding rooftop route on the building's exterior leads back down to the ground level. Option 2 is a heroic form that rises up as a spire in the centre of the city. Situated in the midst of a large man-made lake, the metallic roof shades 5 curved forms that will house the people's representatives. The curved forms have been inspired by the sacred Puranakambam that is depicted at the centre of the symbol for Andhra Pradesh. The forms are translucent to reflect the values of transparency within the government. The roof shelters a large public forum and is designed like a chimney to draw cooling breezes through the buildings. The roof features a unique observation deck 500 feet above the ground, allowing people to enjoy the fantastic views of Amaravati and the surrounding landscape. The Justice City has the High Court as its centrepiece, situated in the midst of a lush forest. There are two options for the High Court building. The first has a tree-like structure that forms the framework for the building. Accessed via a grand public entrance space, a series of pavilions surround the main central building, which houses the courts and the judges' chambers. The structure is inspired by the local jewellery and creates a beautiful interplay of light and shade. The Honourable Chief Justice's Court sits at a higher level, presiding over the other functions. The second option sits atop a grand series of steps, reinforcing the elevated status of the building's function. Inspired by the local temple vernacular, the building plan is formed of a series of concentric rings with access from the north. At its heart are the most private judicial functions, with spaces that become progressively more public, moving away from the core. Amaravati, a city for the people of Andhra Pradesh, a 21st century capital, and an aspirational vision for the rest of the world.